What's going on, y'all? Hope you've been living right. This video, well, I want you to try to convince me to do away with this. If you don't know what this is my forward-facing unit for my Hummingbird system on my boat. It's got a split in the line. Hummingbird's ghosting me with emails for the warranty aspect. Not too happy with that, but that's besides the point. Because here on YouTube, and I am to say I'm part of that too, I guess, as of last week, you either got one side of the spectrum over here that want forward-facing sonar to stay. They love it. It's got to stay. The other side, it's the devil. It's killing the fishery. It's got to go. Now, there has to be something in the middle, and that's what this video is. Because I believe if this kind of social media presence was around when side imaging came out, it'd be all that argument on side imaging. That it's the devil, that people should put in the time, grid out a lake, spend hours, days, months, years trying to figure out a body of water by gridding it out, finding those structures instead of driving down the middle and seeing everything from shore to shore. So that's kind of the thoughts on it, but I figure we're all grown adults, or we're all capable humans, should I say, and we should be able to discuss and find middle ground because we're such a small community of people in the grand scheme of things. Why are we fighting over something like this? You know, let's come together, let's find middle ground. People want it gone. Well, can we compromise and, you know, let's set boundaries, limits, that kind of thing. You know, y'all let me know what you think of this. But this video is going to consist of the last video I made, some comments that were posted on the video, and yeah, we're just going to go into those and we're just going to discuss this thing, and we're going to keep going with these videos as long as the questions don't get repetitive. If they start getting repetitive, I'm just going to end it because it's like beating a dead horse at that point. I'm not going to just keep repeating myself. It's pointless. So I'm going to put all the comments up on the screen so y'all can read them. I'm just I'm going to read a section of the comment that I'm going to talk on. I'm going to try to cover as much of the comment as possible and give you my thoughts, my opinions, where I sit, where we could come together, you know, all that kind of things. And comment, let me know what y'all think about what I'm saying, or another question that I may not have covered. And send this video to other people. Send it to other YouTubers. Let's get everyone involved. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. No one is doing this. I don't know why. It's a huge platform. We should be able to talk on such an aspect like this. I mean, why can't we talk? And that's what I'm trying to do. And we're going to do that right now. The first comment that is up on here, I'm just starting from the top as it popped up. No random order. I could start from the bottom for the people that did do it, but we'll start from the top and go our way down. As y'all can see the question right here, experience of video gaming, that's not good. And right there, I'll stop right there. It's not good. What do you mean by it's not good? It's not good because it's not the way you came into fishing or the way you feel fishing should be done. Or it's not good as that the only way to get the newer generation to do it is to make them think they're in a video game. I'm don't know where we go with that. As far as I'm concerned, if people are coming out and fishing, they're coming out and fishing. On that aspect, I don't see it being a bad thing. It's brought the newer generation into fishing, so I see that being good. Forward-facing sonar takes away from the future and putting effort into understanding the behavior of fish. That's where I disagree. I believe forward-facing sonar has opened our eyes to the behavior of fish. And you can't argue it, because now you can see how the fish reacts to the sound of the waves on your boat, the lure hitting the water, the lure coming to them, the way it reacts with other fish around, reacts around bait, all that stuff. I mean, I believe it is opened our eyes to it. But y'all let me know. I mean, I don't think you can argue that because we know more about fish than we did before, because we can see them. Up next, I'll throw it up here. Let me get to it. Developing more of appreciation for the environment and appreciation for maintaining fish overall, or, you know, the resource in the overall sense. I kind of see where you're coming from on that kind of comment right there. Not coming into it the way we have, which is going out there, looking at the weather, cloud conditions, watercolor, learning everything just by sight of your own eyes. Instead of just dropping the trolling motor in and looking at a screen. I'm hoping that's what you were implying to. If not, go ahead and correct me. We'll touch on that subject later. But I believe it's still, at that point, still in that aspect of the appreciation of the resource, the appreciation of how you fish, the background of it. It's all still there. I believe, I would hope so at least. If not, the people teaching people how to fish are not delivering that message very well, and that needs to stop. I mean, everyone starts fishing from the basics, a little rod, a little box of hooks, and you experiment and go. I mean, nowadays there are people that can go out and just hammer away straight off a live scope. Not saying there isn't, but those people that are taking them out there just to go straight off a live scope, I believe you need to take the initiative to sit back and go, all right, we're going to go do that thing here, but you need to understand the concept of to get to that point. There's more to it than just that. That's my belief. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I read the question wrong. Y'all let me know. We'll just keep on moving here. We don't want to suck up too much time. And all this is going to be broke up in chapters per individual statement. So y'all can just skip to it if you feel like I'm just dragging on too long, by the way. He also states here at the very end, fishing should be more than simply reeling in a piece of meat. Going fishing in and reeling in a piece of meat, that's, in hindsight, that's all we're doing. Now, are you implying that forward-facing sonar, you go out and fish and there's no excitement, no joy, you're just casting and reeling in something because you saw it on a screen? I don't believe that is true. I mean, yes, you saw a fish on the screen, you cast it out to it and you reeled it, but you can't say it's just like reeling in a piece of meat, because technically we do that fishing the bank too. I skip a jig up underneath the dock, fish bites it, I reel in a piece of meat. It's... I kind of get it if you're looking at it of the aspect of there's no excitement in it, that you lose the aspect of the feeling of the bite and your heart skipping a beat or racing when that bite happens and you set in that hook. I kind of get it from that aspect, because watching it come up on the screen and biting, I don't see that being as exciting. And it's not to me. I've seen it 2 or 3 times since I've had live imaging last year, and I wasn't all that excited about it, but I was able to learn something from that process too, which is why I have the system. All right, next question. We'll go ahead and get onto that. And this is my favorite kind of question at all. Here it is right here. What's the matter? You can't catch fish without live imaging. If you plan on making that comment here in this video or in the future videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Kick back. Hell, you don't even have to subscribe. Kick back, watch 5 videos. 5, just random 5 videos from a year back, 2 years back, hell, even last year when I had live imaging. You will see I use live imaging very little to catch my fish. I use live imaging in a different way than is portrayed across social media. The Bassmaster Elites, MLF, all that stuff. Everyone that you see on major league fishing, big tournaments, high stakes, those guys are glued to their screen for the simple fact is they have to compete, and they know that. That is professional fishing. I myself, I go out, use it to see structure under the water that I can't visibly see, ground contours that I may not be able to see with side imaging or down imaging as well, and get a better viewpoint of it is basically what I'm using it for. I can see a point, how it slopes, and like a lake I'd been fishing for 2 years before, I didn't know the point came out and it had a pocket in it. And this live imaging has given me that opportunity to see that, and hindsight, I have been able to adjust the way I fish that point and catch more fish. Now, I'm not sitting there shining that thing, looking at my bait the whole time, trying to catch fish. I spot lock, and I make repetitive casts. That's how I fish with it. Not everyone does, and it's portrayed as no one doing fishing like that. But I think for the majority of the people that own a live imaging system, that's how they do it. But people are learning. People are getting better. They're learning there's fish out there that have never been touched, and they're going out there just looking. But that's not me. And we'll break into that a little bit later. A little bit deeper dive of that later with another comment that's on here. But comment number 3, this one is a long one. He is a subscriber, and he critiques me throughout a lot of stuff, and I appreciate him for that. He's a great guy. He's been following me for quite some time now. He says, forward-facing sonar will absolutely change the future of fishing. And you are correct. I do not deny future-facing sonar, future-facing, front-facing sonar will not change. I do agree with you that forward-facing sonar will change the future of fishing, because side imaging had changed the future of fishing, down imaging changed the future of fishing, 2D changed the future of fishing, which 2D and flashers I kind of categorized the same, it's just different screen aspects. That all changed every bit of sonar that has come into existence has changed fishing. That's how I feel, and you can't deny it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if social media presence was as strong as it was now, back when side imaging was there, or it came out, this argument wouldn't be happening with live imaging, I guarantee it. That's my outlook on that. Y'all let me know if you feel I'm wrong on that, or if you got a different take on it. And that it just won't affect bass fishing, he also says. And he's right, it's going to affect all species of fishing, and we'll break into that just a little bit more as we go on. He does say at the beginning, as y'all see right here, it's not being used for fishing shallow. I think it was just a misprint in it. It is being used for shallow. We all see it. We watched Scott Martin on the Elites bed fishing with it. There's some videos coming out since then that people are using it for bed fishing. It's a sonar unit. It's going to be used shallow. Do I believe it needs to be used during bed fishing season? Absolutely not. But I have my outlook on that. We'll get into that here just a little bit further from one of the other questions. He wants me to think about all the guys that go out and use it to clean up panfish, because if pan fishermen go out and catch their full limits with live imaging, that it's going to be extremely detrimental to the whole ecosystem, because bass feed on bluegill, walleye feed on bluegill, muskie feed on bluegill. Now, that's up here in Wisconsin for y'all southern guys. You know what I'm talking about. It's the food chain. And in an aspect, he is absolutely right. And this is what I think about that. Like the state of Wisconsin right here, and I'm pretty sure a lot of different states, on panfish, you got an extremely stupid high limit on panfish. Why? Why does the state have that high of a limit? I believe a person should have no more than 10 panfish a piece. You don't need 25, 30 panfish. I'm sorry. And the further south you get, or you get on a lake that has giant crappie on it, and you're keeping giant crappie, 10 big giant crappie will feed a family of 4 very well, and some. Normal average size from 10 to 12 inches will feed my family of 4 with just 10. That's what I believe. I believe the state needs to control, or not control, sorry. Well, I guess, let's go ahead and say control. They need to control or adjust the bag limits for panfish to 10 per person. That's it. I don't think a person needs to go out and catch 25, because whether you got live imaging or not, and you're catching 25 panfish, you're destroying that aspect. You see where I'm going now. Yes, if people have forward-facing sonar and they know how to use it, keyword know, they can go out, key on a school of crappie, destroy that school of crappie. And if there's 4 people in the boat and each one can keep 25, they can keep 100 damn fish. What are 4 people going to do with 113 plus inch crappie, if that's what they are in your lake? I mean, 10 inch, okay, but no one's really keeping a crappie under 10 inches. They just throw them back because they feel it's not enough meat on it, which is fair assumption. That's my opinion on it. I mean, yes, it could destroy the ecosystem, and the main forage for a bass or any other species in a lake, primarily being bluegill, crappie. I can see that happening without a doubt. But why is why are the states allowing people to keep such huge bag limits? So y'all let me know your thoughts on that. I mean, this is that give and take. Let's talk about it. I believe the limit should be 10 panfish per person, not 25. So what's y'all's thoughts on that? He goes on to talk about banning weigh-ins during tourneys and then taking fish off of beds, allowing the bluegill to eat their eggs. Okay, here is something, and I'm going to go ahead and state this. I might go on a little rant here, and I'm sorry for this. Everyone here that says forward-facing sonar is the devil, it's going to destroy the ecosystem, it needs to be banned from everything, just wipe it out, it no longer needs to be here. How many people on both sides bedfish in general? How many people bedfish? Because in my opinion, you don't need to be snatching the bass off a damn bed when she's trying to spawn. I mean, and YouTube right now is loaded with people snatching fish off of beds while they're trying to spawn. In my opinion, forward-facing sonar is not doing the damage that all these individuals are doing they're fishing in the spawn. Now, I'm not bashing on just those individuals. I don't believe there needs to be tournaments snatching fish off of beds, because now you're still not putting that fish back for the chance that fish can continue dumping her eggs, but maybe she's too stressed out now and she's gonna swim off. I believe fishing the spawn, fishing bedded fish in general, females or males while they're guarding fry, is right. I did it last year. I can't speak on it too much, but I felt freaking horrible about it. And I'm able to fish lakes around here where one starts spawning and those big girls are moving up and setting up on the bed. I'm not gonna sit there and mess with them. I'm gonna go fish a different fishery where they're in the pre-spawn. And then when they're done over here in pre-spawn and moved up to spawn, the big girls have moved off and I'm chasing them with big 6-inch baits or glides. I try to avoid fishing beds. I did it in a tournament last year and it did not sit well with me. So that's my opinion on that. I believe bed fishing should not happen, period. Whether it's with live imaging or not. And a lot of people are gonna hate me for that, because that's when their biggest bass come off the beds. That's when the bass are the biggest, is when they yank them off a bed. And I believe yanking a bass off the bed, whether you're using forward-facing sonar or not, that is more detrimental than a guy sitting out there catching fish in open water on forward-facing sonar. You heard it from me. I'm saying that right now. And that's my aspect on that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Y'all let me know what you think of that. And give me your input on that. Because I think that is a fair argument right there. And at the very end down here, that forward-facing sonar will take away from the future of the sport, and it takes away from the magic of what was fishing, is what he said. What is or what was fishing? He states at the end of his comment there. As for that statement, what we older generations that grew up without forward-facing sonar perceive as the essence of fishing is what we grew up with, what we knew. Beating a bank, scanning a rock pile offshore, fishing with crankbaits and stuff. The way we fish, power fishermen, even the finesse guys that sit there and work an area monotonously trying to find where that fish is located. That was our way of fishing. It's a new age. In order to get the younger generations out and in the boat and interested and hooked to fishing, forward-facing sonar has become that tool for that to happen, unfortunately. I mean, that's just the way it is. Now, I firmly believe that you should bring the younger generations out and be like, we're gonna fish this way so you can understand the essence, what we call the essence of fishing. Pass on what you have learned, how you have fished, how you located them, and all those little nooks and cranny things that you want to pass on to them for the first part of the day, and then let them have their forward-facing sonar for the next. Don't get carried, don't lose focus of what we knew, because it's the basic blueprint of catching bass. And forward-facing sonar users won't know where to find fish if they don't know the basics. and we can argue this all day long, because you're not going to go out to the middle of the lake, drop trolling and find that damn fish. It's not going to happen. I mean, you'll get lucky and find one, but you still have to know time of year, feeding patterns, wind, how they stage up on that structure out there in the middle of nowhere. You know, there is knowledge to it, and I believe that it killing the future of fishing is only killing it because we're not teaching the newer generations coming in about fishing's essence, or how you need to learn certain aspects before you just dive into that. That's my feeling on it. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I could get bashed for saying that, but y'all let me know. We want to point the finger at forward-facing sonar. Okay, I kind of see it, but I'm going to point the finger right back at y'all, or anybody that has a kid and that kid's out just doing forward-facing sonar stuff, and you're not taking the time to show them, look, beating the bank, it's a blast. Here's a weed edge. You can see it, run a spinner bait over top of it, run a chatter bait down the edge of it, whatever. And, you know, just showing the little nooks and crannies. Time of day, sun, cloudiness, fish a little bit deeper, fish the shadow lines, you know, all that stuff. I put that on the individuals teaching the newer generation growing, if that's the way you feel. On, you know, whether it's losing its essence. Other YouTubers have brought that up, and it's up to us as the older generation to pass on that knowledge and that way of fishing. If someone wants to just teach them forward-facing sonar, that's up to them. That's them. That's fine. That means that person's not going to be on the bank beating it up in front of you. Just let it go. The next one is the same one asking, he doesn't know what I mean by Randy will destroy the future of fishing in Wisconsin. Randy is not going to destroy the future of fishing in Wisconsin. He is just the face of forward-facing sonar ban. I made a thumbnail and a title that kind of pointed at him, because he became the face of it and he wants to be the face of it, which, you know, more power to him. Just throwing that out there. I love Randy. I love the way he fishes. I've learned a lot from him. Learning a jerkbait from the guy the last few years has been great. I mean, he's phenomenal. He knows his stuff. And that's what I mean. Pass on your knowledgement of what you know to the younger generations. Randy's a little older than me, so I'm able to learn from him and his previous aspects. Still love forward-facing sonar. I'm not going to get rid of it. But I understand there's old and new, and you got to work them both. The last one is kind of on the aspect of what I made that comment on the last one, that you cannot enforce a ban statewide on getting rid of forward-facing sonar in an entire state. You can't police it or anything. Another subscriber is like, maybe we can implement taxes to it, or heavy fines. I get it. If you want to try to enforce something of that matter, you have to try to enforce something that major. But you can't, and if you allow the government to tax someone they believe has forward-facing sonar, they can't do that either. They have to tax every single fisherman. Just like if the government thinks you own a gun, they want to tax the ownership of a gun. They're going to force you to pay a tax on a gun that you may or may not own. You know, you see where I'm going with this? It's hard to do, and I don't think it can be done. Maybe the fine aspect, you know, if you're caught with a forward-facing sonar on your boat, you'll get a fine. But for someone like me, and probably a lot more people than I know, jump state lines. I mean, look at tournament fishermen in general. I live on the west side of Wisconsin. The river's 15 minutes away. I can hop the river and go fish Minnesota. If it's legal over there, not legal in Wisconsin, but I don't want to take it off and on every time I cross state lines. How do you do that? So, you know, y'all let me know your thoughts on that. We'll get down to the second part of his question. Or next part of it is the conventional and true anglers can't compete against the video game anglers. Now, with that statement, I'm assuming he's talking on a tournament forum, because we don't go out every day just to go fishing, minding our own business, to kill time and have a good old time. thinking that we have to compete with every single boat on the lake. I mean, a lot of us have the mindset of, I will catch more fish than anybody. But if you go out there with that mindset, fishing every day, that guy out there in the middle of the lake probably fishing some kind of structure using forward-facing sonar, and he's catching all the fish before they get to you, just sell your stuff. Because if that's the thing on your mind when you're out fishing, instead of where am I going to make my next cast, how am I going to make this fish in this brush pile bite or along this grass edge bite, you're just starting to stress out over something that you can't control. So just sell your stuff and give it up. That's my thoughts on it. I mean, maybe I could be completely off base, but unless you're fishing tournaments, and if that's what that question is driven to, is the actual tournament side, I understand that tournament side. I believe tournaments should regulate, or at least give us a 50-50 aspect of forward-facing sonar. I believe to show the colors of everybody. Everyone says if you take forward-facing sonar from tournament fishing, all those young kids can't fish. I go, don't. So, or those young kids won't be able to catch fish, I guess you could say. Let me slow down a little bit. I believe that to be completely false. You take forward-facing sonar from those younger kids that are using forward-facing sonar right now and catching fish, they're going to be just as terrifying shallow fishing without it than what they are fishing with it. I guarantee it. I mean, yes, it'll put the even playing field of people that haven't figured it out and trying to learn it up with, you know, bring them down, you know, and mix it up. That's why I think half the tournament should be forward facing, the other half shouldn't. Make it random of which lakes they fish are or are not. If you got a problem with forward facing sonar in a tournament setting, well, you don't ban it out of a whole state as far as I'm concerned. You have the tournaments ban it. They're privately done. So a tournament can ban forward-facing sonar from it. But you don't have to take away something from somebody that they've put their money into. It's the way I see it on that aspect. Everyone's going to go out and catch fish. The tournament aspect, we can't control as individuals. If we don't like seeing it on TV, why do you want to ban it so no one can have it? There has to be middle ground. Has to be middle ground. Otherwise, such a small aspect, especially if you want bass fishing to become more of a major sport. I mean, it's been said many times, why isn't bass fishing on the scale of NASCAR or something like that? It's because here we are fighting over stupid stuff. Y'all let me know your thoughts on that. I mean, we're fighting. I mean, how it wasn't that long ago, MLF and bass, you know, everyone split off because someone offered something different and it divided what was already small. So eventually it's all going to come back. It's all going to be one again, I do believe. And I think it'll happen here in the next 3 years. I mean, I never really kept up with it all that much, but that's what I see in my opinion. So if us as a small community keep dividing ourselves over stupid stuff instead of trying to find middle ground, and we fight each other constantly, we'll never become a major sport like NASCAR, basketball, or anything like that. It has grown exponentially. Don't get me wrong. And forward-facing sonar is a big contributor to that. So maybe we should be thankful, but also, you know, just I guess you could say, don't bite the hand that's feeding either. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. But if you understand what I'm saying, you kind of get it. We need to work together, and this is what this video is about. Send this video to whoever. Share it with whoever. I want comments, I want opinions, and we'll run this thing, like I said, until it gets drawn out and repetitive with the same questions, and then we're going to drop the thing. I don't want to beat a dead horse, like I said. So if you're one of those guys that are going to bash me because I use forward-facing sonar, watch some of my videos. You'll see that, you know, it's not all forward-facing sonar. I'm trying to learn it, and I use it for certain things, and it has helped me a little bit. But I've caught more fish without forward-facing sonar on my boat than I did with it on my boat. And that's just because, you know, I'm opening up on how I fish and the doors it has opened for me on how I fish. I don't go out fishing super deep or anything like that, and I guess I better bring that up too, huh? My opinions on forward-facing sonar and how it should be used. I don't believe forward-facing sonar should be used for fish underneath 20 foot of water at all. I don't care where you're at in the state at all. That can't happen. But that's where I'm at on that. Maybe I'll pick up on that more in the next video. But until then, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do y'all's YouTube thing. I will try to do mine a little bit better. I'm gonna end this video here. I don't want to get too long. And until next time, y'all keep living right.